That's not available today. In the future, when someone goes to their doctor and the doctor says, well, you have heart disease, or you have Parkinson's, or you have cancer, we will be getting an injection of stem cells, and the stem cells will repair the heart, or repair the liver, or the kidneys, or the brain. And we won't have to live in suffering, and we won't have to live with this disease. That is a time coming in the future, but it's not available today. Now let's talk about the big one, aging. Okay, I have a rule, and if someone's cell phone goes off while I'm up on stage, you have to come up and sing. Okay? And I don't know what songs are popular here in Mexicali, but we might find out. Okay? So please, out of courtesy, silence your cell phones. So let's talk about aging for a moment. Okay? It's something that's going to happen to all of us. In the future, you'll be able to go to your doctor and get an injection of stem cells that are very, very young. And those cells will divide and replace the older cells in your body. So we can have the heart, or the brain, or the kidneys, or muscles of a 20-year-old. This is all coming in the future, but it's not available today. So these are some of the reasons to get excited about stem cells. And what is a stem cell anyway? You might want to know. How many do you know that what a stem cell really is? Some of you have kind of an idea about it? Yeah, some of you? Okay, let's use an analogy so we can understand stem cells. So let's say we're going to start over here. This is the beginning of our life. And we're born, and we're young, and we're healthy. If we're injured, we can heal. Okay, and then we go up into maybe high school. And we're going through school and we're starting to think about what we want to do with our lives. We haven't made a decision yet, but we start to think, well, maybe I'll be a doctor, or maybe I'll be an engineer, or maybe I'll be a plumber, or maybe I'll be an entrepreneur. And then you go a little bit further in life and you go to college, and now you say, okay, I'm going to college and I'm going to become an engineer. And you go a little bit further, and now you say, okay, I am going to be an electrical engineer, and I want to design electrical engines. Maybe I want to work for Tesla someday, and I want to design electrical motors. And then you go through your career, and then you do this, and then at some point you retire, and you're not using those skills anymore. You're still alive, but you're not using those skills, and then eventually you get to the end of your life and you pass on to a better life. Okay? This is the same type of journey that the stem cells take. The stem cells, they start out and they are universal cells. We call these pluripotent stem cells or somatic stem cells. They're universal stem cells in the body, and they haven't made a decision yet as to what they will become, but they can become anything. And as the stem cells progress, just like when we get an education and we say, okay, we're going to be a doctor or an engineer or an entrepreneur, the stem cells begin to change and they go into what's called becoming a multipotent stem cell, meaning they've divided and they've started to specialize. And then just like when we get out of college and we get a job, now the stem cell has decided, okay, I am a liver cell, or I am a cell in the brain, or I am a muscle cell. And then the stem cells, they do their job, or the specialized cells, they do their job. And then as the population of stem cells begins to age, now they don't work so well. And then eventually there's no more stem cells in the body. So this is what stem cells are, and why there is so much research around stem cells today is because it's incredibly exciting. Imagine a day when someone has diabetes, right, which is big here in Mexico. There's over 400 million people globally with diabetes now, and it's on the rise. Imagine someday when we can get stem cell therapy and it regenerates the pancreas and diabetes becomes a thing of the past. So in the future, at some point, it'll be like, oh, I have diabetes. I guess I have to get my stem cell injection and then I'm fine, right? So this is why it's so exciting. Even someday, stem cells will regenerate and create entirely new organs. And if you lose a limb in an accident, stem cells will replace those lost body parts. So this is the exciting thing that we have to look forward to. The problem is that it's not available today, and so most of us don't have access to that. So what can we do in the meantime? Well, what we're going to be talking about is a technology that we spent 10 years developing and over $4 million US. And the idea was very simple, and that is, instead of injecting stem cells into your body, what if we could activate the stem cells that are already in your body? All of us have stem cells in our body. We have to, okay? Otherwise we wouldn't be living. And as we age, the stem cells age with us. So the question is, would it be possible to take those older cells and make them act like young, healthy cells? So we spent 10 years researching this. I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about that journey, and you'll see what we ended up with is a very exciting new technology that's inexpensive, extremely effective, and it's affordable by everyone. So now all of you can have access to stem cell technology and experience some really extraordinary benefits. So we're going to be talking about this, and we like to refer to it that the future is here.
Yes.
It's not 20 years from now. You can start benefiting from stem cells right now. So we're going to talk a little bit about the stem cell journey. And by the way, I don't speak Spanish other than maybe buenos dias. Yeah. I've just done this presentation so many times and I happen to know what that says. So if you're wondering if I speak Spanish or read Spanish, I don't. Okay. All right. Now let's go back. Back one, please. Okay, there we go. Okay, so in biology and in research, when you're trying to do something, one of the things you want to know is there already an example out there of something that does what you're trying to do? So in this case, there are a number of different species that scientists will study to understand regeneration and what might be possible. This is called a planaria, which is a flatworm, and much of its body is made up of stem cells. And what's incredible about planaria is that you can cut off its head, and in only 17 days, it will regrow a new head. So that's the power of stem cells. So this is a standard model in stem cell research, and it's something that we study at our research labs in San Diego. Now these are called hybractinia. This is a sea animal, and when you cut off their tentacles, they will regrow in about 3 to 4 days. This is also an animal that we work with over in Ireland in collaboration with the university. And the advantage of working with hybractinia is you can actually photograph the stem cells moving to the injury. So we can see if we are improving the activity of the stem cells, we can actually photograph that or video it in the hybractinia. Well, you know this one because we're in Mexico, right? Okay. So this is another model for stem cells. We don't happen to work with the axolotl, but it has very specialized tissue like organs, so it makes for a good study in stem cells. And then, of course, after this, next slide, there we go. We have human beings. And when we're born, you know, we have the ability to heal a cut and an injury. And as we age, of course, even those limited repair mechanisms begin to fail us. So this is why when people get over the age of 75, 80 years old, if someone falls and they get a broken bone, they get an injury, it's very, very difficult to heal. And this is because there are very few stem cells in the body, and they really don't work very well. So scientists want to understand this process. What's going on with these animals that can regenerate their head, and why can't human beings do this? And the answer is that it's in the genes and the stem cells. So we've been talking now about stem cells. Let's talk about the genes for a moment. Okay? Not like the jeans that I'm wearing, or this young lady is wearing up here, right? The genes are very simply a library of information that's in your body that makes up who you are. So let's go through our aging process again, okay? When we're over here and we're born, our library of who we are is full with books. What do they say, biblioteca? Okay, I remember that from Spanish class, okay. All right, so we have a good biblioteca, right? Muy bueno. And then we begin to age, and now let's say we start to get to age 25, and by age 25, this is when books start to go missing from our library. And we get up, and we reach another marker. Age 60 is a big one, because all of a sudden now, lots and lots of books from our genetic library go missing. And then we hit another step at age 78. And now a lot of books are missing from our library. And this is part of the process of aging. So what we want to do, of course, is stay young as long as possible, and preferably, if any of you here are over the age of 78, you want to find a way, can we get back some of those books we lost, and maybe get back over here to 50, or maybe get back over to 40, or even better, right? It was always thought that you are born, you age, you die. That is being found now to not be true. Of course, we born, we age, we die, right? Of course. What I mean by but of course, that happens. But what we learn now is that it's actually possible to make older cells into younger cells. This work is being done at some of the biggest universities in the world, at Harvard, Stanford, Johns Hopkins, where you can take the cells out of different animals like mice and turn them into young, healthy cells and reverse the age of those animals. It was just a news article that's coming out, and it shows that within 20 years, this is a Harvard scientist, a very famous geneticist, within 20 years, in humans, we will solve aging, and we will be able to reverse aging in humans. I think LifeWave is going to get there quicker. Right? That's my opinion based on what we've done, as you will see. Okay, but this is why we want to understand this, because if we want to get the stem cells in our body to keep us healthy, we need to reset those genes and make the cells act like young, healthy cells. Okay. So we're going to be talking about X39 and this technology that makes this possible. Now, first of all, X39, for those of you that are new, is not a drug. It is not a vitamin. It's not some herb you've never heard of before. This is all based on light. We are using light to change the chemistry of the body. So just like you go out in the sun and light will cause your body to make vitamin D, we are using light technology to activate the stem cells. And by the way, there's over 5,000 clinical studies now that have been published just in the last 10 years showing how effective light therapy is at changing the chemistry of the body. So it's remarkable because now we can use light to heal the body in a way we never could before. And of course, what we're going to do here is use light to activate the stem cells so we can get some benefits that we can't get today. Next slide. Okay, so in the last 10 years in researching this, we've secured a huge number of patents. As Jim was saying, I just finished out the year with 94 issued patents globally. There are another 13 patents that are going to be issued and about just over another dozen that are in a pending status. About 70 of those patents are in the field of regeneration. So we've invested a lot of time and money into studying this. Some of our work is done in San Diego, and we also have an office in Ireland. And Ireland is a hub for stem cell research globally. And we developed a collaboration with the National University of Ireland in Galway. They are in the top 2% of universities globally in stem cell research. And we did our work at the Regenerative Medicine Institute at NUIG. And in fact, after I made a presentation to Dr. O'Brien, who is the head of the Research Institute, we were granted funding by the Irish government to do this work. So we'll talk about this a little bit with the next slide. All right, there we go. So this is one of the technologies that we used in our research to test the idea, is it possible to activate stem cells? How are we going to do this? So I invented this device. It produces a very unique electromagnetic field, and we got many patents on this. And this is one of the devices we used in our testing. Now remember, we've got these planaria. You can cut off their head and it will regenerate in 17 days. Scientists would like to know, can you regenerate it in 15 days? I'm going to go back to that other device. Let's go back one slide, actually. All right, fine. We'll stay on this slide. We did work at the university with rabbits. And one of the things that we found, we would give the rabbits an open wound. In one experiment, you apply stem cells to the injury, and then you apply to a separate group the electromagnetic device. And what we found was that stem cells could heal the wound about 20 to 40% faster than normal. When you applied our electromagnetic device, the wound would heal 20 to 40% faster. So this was our first indication that you could use energy to activate the stem cells and make it as effective as if you had injected stem cells. So that was very exciting. So then in San Diego, we began to do work with the planaria. We would cut off their heads. And what we found was that we could actually regenerate the head in 1 day instead of 17 days. Of course, worms and humans are very, very different. I don't expect that we're going to do that with human beings anytime soon.
Somos muy diferentes, pero
But we even got it down to less than 1 day. Our best trial was 16 and a half hours. And we invited the #1 stem cell scientist in the United States that works with Planaria. He happens to be in San Diego. And he came into our labs and he witnessed this for himself. And he was super excited about it. Even what we did with this, we were able to create an injury in the planaria, and the injury would normally heal in 10 hours. In the planaria, we got the wound to close in only 15 minutes. So imagine when we talk about these things in the future, someone goes into a hospital and they're bleeding, they have an injury, maybe from a car accident. They could use this technology to start to heal the injury within minutes. And this is going to save people's lives. Another thing to think about, if we are healing the body very rapidly, that's very powerful anti-aging. In other words, if you can heal the body faster than the body is aging, that's age reversal. Okay. So, of course, as we age, the stem cells are aging. They don't work as well. Stem cell injections are expensive. And this is a significant problem that we have to overcome. Okay. So, in Europe, stem cell injections are as much as 30,000 euros. It is not cheap. Even in the US, when you take stem cells out of your body and inject them someplace else, they're about 3,000 to 5,000 US dollars for one single injection. So stem cell therapy is extremely expensive. It doesn't always work. When stem cells are injected, they might not do anything, and there's even a risk that stem cells can injure healthy tissue. So all these obstacles have to be overcome, as well as the planaria. Okay. All right, so what are we doing with X39? Well, first thing is we're going to make stem cell science affordable to everyone. Using light, it's extremely safe. Because we're using the stem cells already in your body, that also makes it safe. And because we don't have to culture stem cells and inject them, it's very inexpensive. Anyone can afford this. And also, because we're using your own stem cells, it's very, very effective, as we'll see. Okay, so what are some of the benefits of X39? What we've talked about is that we use light therapy. Well, what does that mean? Well, my invention, going back 20 years now, is to provide light therapy in a patch. So these patches do not contain any drugs or vitamins or herbs. Instead, the patches contain organic crystals that we manufacture, and they are sealed inside of this patch. So you apply the patch to the skin. The crystals in the patch are activated by your body heat, and now they start to reflect light and stimulate the skin with light. So this technology, LifeWave X39, is low-level light therapy. We are stimulating the skin with very low levels of light. That's how this works. So what kind of benefits? Well, the first thing is, because we're using light, we see immediate effects. Now, this is great news when you're using the product for yourself because you can feel the benefits the very first day. And it's also great news for entrepreneurs that want to build a business, because now you don't have to wait weeks or months for someone to experience the benefit of the product. As a matter of fact, the fastest growing teams that we have in the United States, what they find is they can give someone an X39 patch, and most people within the first 24 hours are saying, yes, I have more energy, I sleep better, I feel better. Within the first 7 days, people are already experiencing wound healing, better recovery from exercise, and other benefits. So this is an enormous benefit for business owners, because very quickly, within a few days or the first week, your prospects, your customers are coming back to you and said, thank you, I feel the benefit of this, I want to go ahead and order the product. So there's an immediate effect. Now, more energy. Jim mentioned we have over 80 clinical studies, and when we do our clinical research, we do standard blood testing, urine testing, and a whole host of different bioelectrical tests. So when we were studying X39, some of the studies that we did involved metabolic testing. So we take samples of people's blood or urine, and we see how does it change over time. And so we can take someone, and let's say we take their urine sample. I don't do this personally because I think urine is gross, but I would pay other people to do it. But we take the urine sample, we test it, then we apply an X39 patch, and then we can measure a change in the urine in only 24 hours. And one of the changes that occurs is that there is an increase in the metabolism. Some people do lose weight with X39, it's just not a benefit that we talk about. The main benefit is that people get an improvement in their levels of energy. And you can feel this the first day. So this is enormous. Most people, they start to get tired at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You wear an X39, now you can feel very constant, very stable levels of energy throughout the day. Another benefit, which seems, I guess, kind of opposite to this, is improvement in sleep. Now, this one is really interesting because why would a product that gives you more energy also help you sleep? Right? That doesn't seem to make sense. Well, it does, because what we are doing with X39 is resetting cells to a younger, healthier state. So the body functions the way that it's supposed to, giving you energy during the day and better sleep at night. But let's think about it in a little bit different terms, right? When does the body repair itself? At night. And it's the stem cells that are repairing the body. So when we did our testing, we looked at how are some of the hormones in the body changing, how are they being affected. And sure enough, what we found is that when you activate the stem cells, at night they begin to increase production of a biochemical called GABA, and this is what induces sleep, so the body can heal. So activating stem cells is a lot more than just repairing damage. It also gives you benefits of more energy and better sleep. Okay. Now, in the process of repairing injury, the body has to manage inflammation. And as we age, the ability that we have to manage inflammation decreases. And this is why people end up with chronic illness like arthritis, where they're in pain all the time, because the inflammation stays in the body and we're not clearing it out. When you activate the stem cells with X39, it will better help you to manage inflammation. The reason is that stem cells are attracted to inflammation. This is one of the really amazing things about the human body and why the body is divine and divinely created. Because when we have an injury, the response to that injury is to increase production of chemicals that at first we think are damaging, but it's actually to attract stem cells to start to repair the injury. We need to remove then that inflammation so the stem cells can repair the injury. They've done their job. So activating the stem cells helps to manage inflammation and pain. So not surprisingly, most people within the first day to the first few days of using X39, if you have an injury, you'll start to notice that your pain will come down and you'll feel better. Now there's another really interesting thing about stem cells. The most abundant protein in the body is collagen. And so in order to repair an injury, we have to be able to make lots of collagen. So when you activate the stem cells, that's one of the things that happens. You're increasing the production of collagen in your body, and it just so happens that one of the benefits that we get is a reduction in the appearance of lines and wrinkles. At that point, I usually get asked my age. I'm 56, by the way, if you want to know. Okay, sports performance. Do we have any athletes here? Any athletes? We have one athlete, a few athletes. Okay, a few. Okay, for the rest of you, shame on you. You should be exercising. Okay? All right, perfect. Okay, so if you're not exercising,
Respondió la
commit
pregunta.
to a regular
Se pone
program of
eso para-
exercise. It's good for you. It'll help keep you young and healthy. And when you exercise, you're going to find out that you recover more quickly when you're using X39. It's the stem cells that go in and repair muscle after they've been damaged by exercise, and X39 helps with that. When we were in Japan this summer, Jim and I were in Tokyo. We had a big event that we did there. And one of our guest speakers, his name was Akira Yegashi. He is a 3-time world champion boxer. He's 38 years old and coming to the end of his career. But in using X39 and our carnosine patch, now he recovers very, very quickly after training and after his matches, and now he's going to continue boxing. So he gave a 20-minute testimonial on his experiences in the ring and in training with X39. Okay. Now, another really interesting thing about stem cells is that in the future, baldness will be a thing of the past. Okay? Unless people want to be bald. There's certainly many good-looking bald men, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. But for those people that choose not to be bald, right? Thank you very much. For those people that choose not to be bald, they will be able to get an injection or a topical application of stem cells, and those stem cells will regrow the lost hair follicles, and without any type of surgery, they will have, again, a full head of hair. Now, some people using X39 regrow their hair. We have gotten those testimonials. It doesn't happen with everyone, and it's also not a claim we make because we don't haven't done a clinical study to test it. But if you get hair growth with X39, it's not your imagination. Okay, now, some of the really incredible testimonials that we get in one category is reduction of scars. I had surgery on my back when I was 12 years old. And I had been in a gym, and I had been weightlifting, and I had a trainer I was working with, and he trained me too hard, and part of the muscle on my back ripped,